All right, my name is Seth Dixon,
And I'm Luke Burley.
and this is our presentation for the CMGT 455 final. We did our project on the One World Trade Center. Just a quick overview of what the One World Trade Center is. It's a large building that's located in Lower Manhattan, New York City. It's approximately 3,501,274 square feet. The height of the building overall is 1,706 feet tall, which is about 101 floors. Architectural style is contemporary modern, as you can tell, and we'll see a few photos later on of the interior that represents the modern design as well. And then one fun fact is it's the tallest building in New York and the tallest building within the United States. Why was it built? It was built due to the attack on the Twin Towers on September 11, 2001, when the two airplanes crashed into the Twin Towers, and later these buildings were demolished and removed. They decided to build the One World Trade Center as a memorial structure to the 9/11 attack on the Twin Towers. The top four people that were involved in the construction of the One World Trade Center are first David Childs, who is the architect. WSP Contour Sinuk was the structural engineer. Tishman Construction was the overall general contractor that took the spearhead front on this project, although there were other contractors that were joint ventured with them on this job, but they were the main one. And then the developer was Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, who were the ones who decided ultimately to invest in it and make this a memorial for the Twin Towers and the 9/11 attack. The construction timeline. So construction started on this in October of 2004. It was completed in May of 2015, which is an overall duration of 11 years. And even though it was technically completed in 11 years, there were floors down below that became occupied prior to this. And then the observatory didn't open until 2015. So they occupied the entire building on November of 2014. But the observatory, which we'll get into a little bit later at the top of the structure, which ultimately is one of the memorial aspects of the building, wasn't actually put to use until 2015.
So yeah, like Seth was saying about that One World Observatory, it's located at the very top, and it actually has a shopping area, memorials, and restaurants that are also built into it. And although it can cost you a fairly good amount, I believe the average just to get up there is around $40. But people say that the memories and pictures and sights are completely worth it just to be up there and that high. And it's actually a skypod elevator, actually one of the many elevators. I believe there's like 70 plus in this thing, that takes you to the top, kind of like a special VIP access type deal that you can access that shopping area, memorial, and restaurants that I was talking about. But really, imagine being up there at this observatory. You know, we get up maybe at Table Rock or Zion's Bank, which you'll get to see a comparison later. But you think you're high up there? I mean, just imagine this. You could probably, I'm sure, see the curvature of the earth if you really wanted to. But so moving on, we get into the structure, which is really a solid concrete core that has concrete decks, structural steel, as you can see here. It's not just like our typical like commercial core and shell buildings that just kind of have columns and beams going across. They got all these vertical sort of columns going up. And remember, this building actually twists as it's going up. So really, it's really hard to kind of figure out how these workers plan to go about it. You know, making sure everything's plumb. It's a lot harder as you're starting to get up and starting to curve, because eventually it makes sort of a circle as you get to the top the way it's built. And I just can't imagine trying to, what do you call it, make sure that whole building's basically square, plumbed up and right as you go. I mean, you get up too far and you're gonna run into issues if you're start giving an inch and not taking back that inch as you go up. And what's really amazing is the glazed curtain wall system they got going on in this structure too. So, and moving on, what's a big aspect, a part of this job is actually the two tower cranes that go into this job. Is as you can see here, they were actually located in the center, and they obviously they added to themselves as as the building came up higher, that 1700 feet. And really, it's really critical for this project's success because you think about every time it goes up, that's a long pick load coming from the bottom. It takes more time to get up there. Everyone's radioing to each other, coordinating picks. Certain times, those times have to be on point, on money. Just so if something arrives late, you have a little bit of free time just to get the next load that's coming in for all those subs. I mean, just think about all the subs that have to be using those two cranes as well as the building is still being built itself. So yeah, these picks definitely have to be scheduled on a critical time path. I'm sure there was plenty of whiteboards, with names of subs being in there, making sure they have their designated spots they need to get in, get out for the next sub. And a big one is communication, because if you look here, I mean, just those the counterweights on the back, you swing the wrong way too fast, not looking, you're concentrated on your load. And I mean, you could hit that other tower crane, it could all come crumbling down into the street below, which is my next point, the falling objects. I mean, for sure, this is a big QA/QC safety type deal. I mean, you don't want anything falling off, any debris falling off, a rock, a penny from that high can catch up speed and damage someone or hurt someone, kill someone on the ground below coming up from that high. So you can't even really have nails falling off of that. So they had to be really safe on making sure they are rigging all their picks safely. And so moving on, here's some similar structures. And sorry if I butcher these names. A lot of them are in China, and I don't really know how to say these too well. But the first one pictured here to the right of us, it's actually on the left side of the picture, that big one. It's the Shanghai Tower in China. And the next one is the Ping An Finance Center in China as well. And here's one I might get wrong. It's Guangzhou CTF Finance Center, also in China. The Lot World Tower in South Korea, the China Zun in China, and Tianjin Navy CTF Finance Center in China. But look at, I mean, just this picture alone of the Shanghai Tower, just imagine how high they're getting up there compared to all these little buildings. I mean, it's just crazy how maybe that spiral effect kind of gives them more ability to go straight up than it does just the normal straight up and down towers. And next, some interesting facts here is that 200,000 yards of concrete was poured to complete this project. And if you think about that, that's 20,000 concrete trucks coming in. That's just an absurd amount for you think of New York City, how busy and the bustling life it is, how hard it is. Boise, sometimes with traffic, I couldn't imagine doing this kind of concrete pour. The big ones they had in New York City to get all the way that high must have been insane amounts of traffic stoppage, and I'm sure a ton of planning. But this concrete actually had to have a high compressing strength to hold all that weight of 14,000 psi. It achieved a LEED Gold certificate, meaning that leadership in energy and environmental design. It was designed, built, and maintained using green energy and best practices of that. And it's the sixth tallest structure in the world. Total construction came out to around $3.9 billion, and 29 floors, let alone, are used for mechanical purposes in this building. And moving on,
So lastly, we just kind of wanted to leave everyone with a little bit of a visual and a real comparison to something that we all see every day, and that is the Zion's Bank Tower, downtown Boise. So on the right, we just scaled Zion's Bank, which was like 323 feet tall compared to the World Trade Center, which was 1,770 something feet tall. So we just want to give a good visual comparison because lots of times when you think of, a skyscraper or something, it's a hard time really picturing that. And so really comparing it to Zion's, which seems tall and seems big when everyone's downtown walking around, is a good visual. And you can see that it is obviously much, much larger than what we're used to seeing. And if you saw it in person, you'd probably really be amazed at how tall this building really is. And it makes you kind of pay attention just to the structural aspect of the building and how it sustains wind loads and weather as it rolls through New York City. And with that, we'd like to just wrap up the presentation. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out and ask either Luke or I whatever question you may have.